What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, let's start with some good news for the day. This broke last night, and honestly, this is one of the better news stories, I think, of the whole year. We've been hit with just layoffs after layoffs in the gaming industry and studio closures, and in my opinion, there wasn't any that were worse than when Xbox shut down Tango Gameworks. We went through that whole, era and that whole drama of they did exactly what they were supposed to. Hi-Fi Rush seemingly was a successful game. Xbox admitted that, and they shut down the team anyway. They kind of blamed leadership of people leaving, and just a complete joke and a complete disaster. Well, the good news is Krafton actually bought them. So this is the publisher, obviously, behind PUBG. Also, Striking Distance Studios, the ones that made Callisto Protocol. Remember, they've been trying to get out of just not having only PUBG, right? They want to kind of expand to other things. They bought Tango Gameworks at the top of the hour, right before it struck midnight, and somehow they got it done. They got it from Xbox, and they saved them. I mean, that's boiling it down, right? Now, they talk about in their press release, they focus pretty exclusively on Hi-Fi Rush. They almost outright say Hi-Fi Rush 2, right? Because they say they're buying them, and they want them to expand the Hi-Fi Rush IP. The director that did Hi-Fi Rush, by the way, he tweeted, and he said, okay, so we're back, things like that. So it seems like he's coming along for the ride. So for the people wondering, okay, well, you buy the studio, but has everybody left? Did leadership leave? No, it seems like they're all still there, and they were probably in the process of closing down. I think they showed pictures a few months ago of the office as they were. I thought they were already shut down. I didn't even know that this could even happen. And I think that's kind of why it surprised a lot of people, is I think we all thought it was just dead. The studio, it was empty. There was nobody there anymore, but I guess not. And this obviously was probably in the works for a couple months, and right as they were expecting to close, they got bought and they got saved. So I honestly believe we can expect a Hi-Fi Rush 2. They talk about expanding the Hi-Fi Rush IP, as long as you don't bring it to places it doesn't need to be, right? But again, the striking distance thing and Callisto Protocol, that it did kind of fail, right? It didn't make the money that Krafton wanted it to make, so that scares me a little bit. But generally, they want to do other things versus live service, and so I don't think they bought them in this instance right here, right? I don't think they bought Tango Gameworks to make them something that they're not, to change the IP, right? Because at the end of the day, Hi-Fi Rush was a game of the year kind of contender type game. It was my second favorite game, of that year. It is an amazing game. Again, it did pretty well, and it was behind Game Pass, right? So you have all of that. They also say all of the games are still going to be, if they're on Game Pass, they're on Game Pass. So Hi-Fi Rush, Evil Within, Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, they have a diagram, and they do mention those as well. I don't know, because in the official press, the big kind of headline title type thing, they say they got the Hi-Fi Rush IP. That specifically went with Tango Gameworks to them. I don't know 1,000%. You guys will have to let me know maybe if you see something different. Right now, I don't know if they actually have the rights to do Evil Within or Ghostwire Tokyo. Remember, the rumor was they were doing a Hi-Fi Rush 2 and another Ghostwire Tokyo game, right? So, and Evil Within 3, I guess, is always possible, but probably the least likely, considering also what happened again with leadership, right? So I don't know for sure. I feel like they put that in there just to say, hey, this is what the studio has made, not necessarily what they can make for us, because they single out Hi-Fi Rush, and they do single out that they got that IP. They didn't say that with Evil Within or Ghostwire Tokyo. So I don't think that they have that. Again, you guys will have to correct me if I'm wrong. That is a little disappointing. I actually really like Ghostwire Tokyo, and Evil Within is an amazing game, but I think I was on the more positive side even for Ghostwire Tokyo. But Hi-Fi Rush is my favorite, of that trio, basically. So if they were to get any of them, if they were to save any of these franchises, I know you could take your pick, and you'd be pretty good any way you choose, right? But for me, if you had to save one, which is basically, I guess, it's like a Saw type scenario, right? You have to only save one. I actually would have also picked Hi-Fi Rush. So I think they made the right decision. We'll see where it goes from here. But great news. Finally, we get something that's not a studio closure, but a studio acquisition. And just to throw it in, I don't want this to be like super beating on Xbox, but there's a theme here, right? Like Toys for Bob goes independent and then works with Xbox on their IP. And now Tango Gameworks, in a way, how they got there was different, but they have also kind of done the same thing. I guess they're not independent, right? But you have these studios that are like branching off from Xbox, and yet they're still using the Xbox IP. But for Toys for Bob, they didn't seemingly want to be in that umbrella. And I wonder why. And it's probably because of control. It's probably because of these closures. They don't feel comfortable. And the Tango Gameworks, I mean, they were just freaking, left for dead, in the back alley. And then they were saved, at the last second. So how they got there was different, but it's just interesting how this stuff is happening. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.